Greetings, I'm your host Douglas here at Drumboy Productions, and today you're watching a very special episode of the 31 Days of Trick or Treat, where every single day for 31 days we take a look at a different product from Trick or Treat Studios. This one is pretty insane. Viewer beware, you're in for a scare. Thank you all for joining us on another episode. I hope you all have been enjoying this series so far. Today marks the first day of the third week of the 31 Days of Trick or Treat. The first 2 weeks featured some incredible items, which I am happy to have. However, I think today's item is probably going to be my favorite nostalgia-wise. This is something that I have truly wanted ever since I was a little kid. And I'm sure most of you watching, if you're not just a regular viewer keeping up with all my videos, if you're watching this because you actually want to see a review on this mask, you wanted this since you were a kid as well. This is a huge part of not just my childhood, but so many people's childhood. Today we're taking a look at the Haunted Mask 1 by Trick or Treat Studios. I think it pretty much goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. The Haunted Mask is one of the most memorable stories and TV episodes in the entire Goosebumps anthology series, discography, whatever you want to look at. Whether it's the book or the TV show, it seems people really resonated with that story. Goosebumps is very near and dear to me. In fact, without it, I wouldn't be who I am today. I learned how to read from Goosebumps books. My grandmother used to narrate Goosebumps books to me, and she taught me how to read while doing that, which created not just a lifelong love of reading, but a lifelong love of horror and monsters and that crazy artwork on the front of the books. And of course, because I love the books so much, when the TV show came on, we watched it together. And I watched these things so many times. But of course, the Haunted Mask is one of the most striking. Poor Carly Beth stumbles upon a haunted mask and her life is changed from there on out. Not just in the first book. If you guys have kept up with the full stories, it's kind of a repeating thing. And I can't say 100% for certain, but I would probably say that a good bit of my love for masks may even stem from reading The Haunted Mask and watching it so much as a kid. Seeing all those crazy masks in that Halloween shop was just so cool to me, because there really wasn't anything like that where I live. I've wanted the Haunted Mask ever since I was a little kid, and now I finally have a replica. There are plenty of replicas out there by independent artists, and a lot of those look hit or miss. Some are great, some not so much. This one is pretty darn good. It definitely has some things I think could be improved. For one, the teeth being molded completely solid like they are. A lot of people complain about that look. And I mean, if you want to, you can cut in between them. That way you can at least open the mouth some. Or you can remove them entirely and add in teeth if you want. But as for stock, it's not a super great look, but it's not terrible either. Particularly around the gums and then on the teeth themselves, it'll look a lot better. I haven't really compared this one directly side by side with the screen used, but I'm pretty sure that the eyes on those are just a little bit larger at least. Other than that, the rest of the sculpt is pretty damn solid. As far as the paint work, there's a lot of greens and yellows in here, and it doesn't look too bad. They even added in some really nice thin green veins, mostly on the back of the head. But there are some more different colors in the actual mask, and that really makes it pop and come alive. One of the biggest things is that the lips are usually a little bit more purple, instead of just the same green as the rest of the mask. As for the back, you do have that kind of skull-looking impression here, and that's airbrushed pretty well. The bottom of the mask is cut all jagged, just like the real one. And because there's no hair or anything else to discuss, that's pretty much it. So it's decent paint, could definitely use a touch-up to make it a lot better. And really the only thing I could complain about other than the teeth being, a little bit odd looking because of how they're molded, is this actually is kind of a small mask. This is not a big head friendly piece, unfortunately. I did try to put it on when it first came, and it does not fit me well at all. But regardless of whether I could wear it or not, I probably would not wear it for more than just a few photos. It is a really cool mask, but this is definitely more so the kind of piece I would put on display. Oh, another thing to mention about the sculpts. For those of you who don't know, there are a few different sculpts of the Haunted Mask. There's the actual mask version, which is what's represented here. It looks a little bit different than the version that's worn by Carly Beth, the transformation mask. The features are a lot more exaggerated on that one. Overall, the construction of the mask is different. And speaking of that, I have a little surprise for you all. I mentioned that this would be a pretty special video, but I didn't tell you guys why. And I'm not going to put it in the thumbnail or advertise this. This is only for those of you who are dedicated enough to be watching this right now. What I'm about to share with you all is one of the coolest things in my collection and may actually be my favorite thing I own. Because here we have, in my hand, actual pieces of the screen-used haunted mask. Now guys, I am not a swatch or sample collector whenever it comes to screen-used props. I will not spend money on that kind of thing. I think it's sad that many of these awesome props get purchased just to get ripped up or cut up and sold for more profit in tiny little pieces. This, however, not only did I not pay for this was a gift, but this was not done on purpose. Unfortunately, the mask version of the screen-used haunted mask is rotting away. It was left on a piano in direct sunlight at the studio for many, many years. And for many years, they would not sell it. However, recently they did sell it, and they didn't even sell it to some big collector. They sold it to some random guy. I mean, not talking down on him. Very, very nice dude. Obviously, he was kind enough to send me pieces of the real haunted mask. His name is Eddie. He goes by Little Spawn 2000 over on Instagram, and he hit me up offering pieces of the real screen-used haunted mask. And look, when somebody messages you something like that, obviously you think they're probably pulling your leg, especially if they have like a brand new account, really no photos, no crazy collection. Yeah, you own the real haunted mask for sure, dude. But he sent me pictures of it, and guys, he owns it. And I gotta say, it's looking gnarly. Unfortunately, it is rotting away pretty severely, but it still has a majority of the shape of the head, and it looks crazy. It looks so much creepier than the actual screen-used mask. He did ask that I don't share photos of the mask with you guys in the video, so unfortunately I can't show it to you. It's super cool though. If you want to see it, go follow him on Instagram at LittleSpawn2000. I'll try to put it on screen. And he said at some point after I release this video, he will post photos of it online. So if you're interested in seeing it, keep a lookout there. And at some point, I'm sure I'll share those photos to my Instagram. I don't know how well you guys can tell, but I'm shaking a little bit. This is just so damn cool to me. Never in a million years, being that little kid reading The Haunted Mask, watching The Haunted Mask, did I ever think I would own pieces of the real Haunted Mask, or any Goosebumps props actually. And without the kindness of Eddie, I would not own these pieces. It is a very, very small, kind of odd thing in my collection, but as far as screen-used props go, this is for sure one of my favorites. And as far as the pieces here, these large, thicker chunks on top, those came off of the neck, which is a lot thicker foam latex. These pieces right here on the bottom, what you're seeing are actual pieces of the cheek of the haunted mask. It came directly off of this part of the mask. He sent me photos where this part of the neck is rotted out, and it had started like peeling up and flaking away. And I guess at some point, either those flakes just fell all the way off, finally, or he pulled it off and sent it to me. Either way, he did send me another photo afterwards, and you can tell it's just straight foam right there. So I own like a good piece of the face of the haunted mask. Guys, I know it's small, it's really no huge deal, but to me, that's a really damn cool artifact. I hope you all think that's as cool as I do, because to me, not just as a horror fan, not even as a Goosebumps fan, just as a mask fan, that is such a huge deal. The haunted mask is what kind of played off those pre-existing fears, but then also gave those fears to people who didn't know that they were even afraid of such a thing, where if you wear a mask and it feels like it won't come off, it's just a little bit too tight, I guess you could call it claustrophobia to some degree, people freak out. And a lot of people freak out because they think it's like the haunted mask. I could see you being a kid with an overly active imagination, you put something like this on, or just any latex mask, not even a scary mask. And it's a little bit too tight-fitting, and you can't get it off, it feels like it's really gripping onto your face. As mask collectors, I'm sure most of you out there watching have dealt with that at some point in your life. That tapped into that fear, and also exemplified that fear. So that's kind of a fear of masks in a way, and that's pretty fucking sweet that this did that. Anyways, enough of me gushing about Goosebumps and this little piece of the real fucking haunted mask. Let's go ahead and take a look at the excerpt from the Trick or Treat Studios website on this piece. Alright, so here we go. This piece was sculpted by Alexander Ray. Trick or Treat Studios and Scholastic Inc. are proud to present the Haunted Mask from the chilling Goosebumps installment, The Haunted Mask. So pick up the Goosebumps Haunted Mask today, but be warned, you might not want to put it on. Mask measures approximately 24 inches around the brow and 5 inches from jaw to the brow. Not a whole lot to say information-wise. Obviously, they didn't have the screen-used one for reference, but they did pull off a pretty damn good replica. And as for price, these are $55, so they're actually a little bit below the average for masks. And if you're interested in picking one of these up, I strongly suggest that you do so now. Scholastic has been known to kind of flip-flop with who they're going to give the rights to, which is why we saw Trick or Treat Studios lose the rights previously, and then Spirit got it, and now Trick or Treat Studios has it back, but who knows how long they'll keep it. Just to be sure, I went ahead and ordered their full catalog of Goosebumps stuff because these were super hard to come by and kind of pricey when they were not producing them, so I'm really happy to see these back in production. And as for where you can pick them up, you can get them directly from Trick or Treat Studios themselves, or you can order it from one of the plethora of retailers that they work with. And with that being said, I guess there's nothing left to do but give you guys some nice close-ups of this mask. I love you all. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed all the installments of the 31 Days of Trick or Treat so far, and I'll see you next time.